For the Shadowrunners, Gone, Lady Widow, Styx, Pulse, and Oni.
Well,
A lot of you are independent contractors, so to speak, in the Hong Kong Free Enterprise. Man, every day goes by and I don't regret a land of incredible opportunity. We were in Barnes and Noble, and we saw that it was even on sale. There's a place. It was this book called Busey's Incredible Populations, and it was like into a very essential wisdom from Gary Busey himself in various like small essays or whatever. And I was like, I gotta be like, this is a gift for Lance. This is so. If we hadn't already gotten the pins, I would have been like, this is a land of 12 million people. So I instead sent a picture of those 12 million people are split up into it's the mostly human, but a significant portion of elves, dwarves, and orcs. There's 9,100 people per square kilometer.
Oh, hybrid haven.
Wow. Oh, do you know how many square kilometers? No, I remember that. Hong Kong is? Very small. 1,100. So it is, especially in a place like Kowloon City, which is even before sort of the mechanisms of Shadowrun, famed for being this incredibly complex, cramped, high-rise. It might as well be a different country. Look it up.
Not the official ones,
but
a very literal nightmare. Yeah, I do.
Right now, okay. I was looking to see if we could do the double-sided ones, but
I do not have it.
Okay. Right now, pressing against the northern face is Victoria Peak here in downtown Hong Kong, deeply on the island. I just wanted to wait until you guys. You are at a popular runner's destination, Charlie Chan's. Charlie Chan's is, as you might expect from your lessons on older pop culture history, is just decorated like an old Shanghai speakeasy. Okay. And it is named after, of course, the popular detective from the 30s movies. So, as you're making your way through...
The guy with an idiot's son, right?
Yes. So now...
played by a white guy.
Oh, well, of course, yeah.
Yep.
So, as you're making your way through this club, it is so meticulously decorated and set up as an experience that it feels like you're in truly 1935. You've left the rain-slicked, neon-soaked streets behind with their congestion, acid rain, and people pressing up against each other, trying to shovel ramen into their faces. They are weaving in and out of traffic patterns. It says right here, in 9, see this I know you have a driver's license. Beautiful place. Are we going to argue with the text? Elves and trolls all enjoying fine drinks, dressed in. That's everybody here tonight. What would be above average clothing? Okay. And the place is currently being soundtracked to an all-dwarven band that is playing a particular, more electronic kind of influenced. I mean, if you want to, a little more synth, but to put up the sex swing at all. Electro swing. So
that's
you
exactly why
are
I was
here.
kidding.
Yeah, electro swings.
But definitely not this.
Not this time.
You're in your finest running clothes, but you left. What was the first issue wear at home? I think it's huge.
There were several.
You can feel the music as soon as you hear it. It's sort of it's rumbling through the club, not in a raucous way that you might find at Reno's or something like that. But you were there to acquire a job, and you know that. On a night like tonight in Charlie Chan's, the runners are going to be out everywhere, and it's going to be difficult to nab that contract. You got to get in, you got to play smart, you got to get out. Let's see here, Oni. Mm-hmm. As you're making your way through the club, passing a simply. Tablecloth circular table under a crystal chandelier, you feel a hand at your arm.
Other hand goes to the tomahawk at my belt and turn to look.
As you turn, you see a human woman. Looks like of European descent. Long blonde hair, sort of perfectly straight, done up with modest but appealing makeup, nothing garish or anything. Dressed in what is clearly a sharp-cut corporate suit. She, as she sees you turning, she removes her hand and says, before you split up, I'd like to talk to you. And she gestures for you to come to a nearby booth and sort of turn away from the polite din of the rest of the club.
Of course. Always worth hearing an offer. Let's go.
So she was talking to all of us.
Yes, she
Okay.
specifically touched on
Right.
on Oni, but it's now talking to the group.
Right.
She's easy to look at, some flashy jewelry, but a military cut style corporate suit, like very clean lines. She seems out of her element, though. She doesn't seem like she's not a Shadowrunner. That much you can tell already based on just the corporate suit. It's a cookie cutter. But she also has this. It's clear that she commands a certain kind of authority, silent authority. Probably doesn't have to shout very much to get what she wants, but not here.
Mm-hmm.
In the office, in the boardroom. This is a different place.
This is not her battlefield.
She turns and heads to an empty corner booth. She sits down and launches into this fairly rapid sales pitch. Even before you sit down, she starts talking. Good evening. My name is Mrs. Chan. I'm looking for some professionals to assist my employers in retrieving some stolen property. This job must be carried out by a low-profile group that can recover the goods with a minimum of attention. Now, this opportunity could prove extremely fruitful, both in terms of new yen and status. Unfortunately, time is of the essence, and I cannot give you that time to deliberate. I need to know right now, are you the people I've been looking for? Yes or no?
Yes.
How much discretion are we talking about?
The utmost.
Sure.
Well, I'm curious enough to hear the job.
It should be fairly simple for people of your skill sets. As you realize, this is not exactly the place for a proper business meeting. Lots of eyes, lots of ears, and very little in the way of informational security. We'll meet at the Look Tea House, also located here in downtown Hong Kong. I'm sure you can find it with your comlinks. We'll meet at exactly 1 o'clock in the morning, 4 hours from now. Do not be late. When you get there, ask for Erlen. You'll be directed to the meeting from there. Do you have any questions about the meeting place?
Restrictions?
Of what kind?
Weapons? What?
Don't bring them.
That's why I'm asking.
At the Look Tea House, they'll be checked
Checked
at the inner door.
Okay.
Now, I suggest you all leave quietly. Do not attempt to follow me. It would strain our relationship. I will meet you in 4 hours at Look You. And with that, she gets up and sort of decreases her... That's a weird way to put it. Sort of smooths out her suit, turns on her heels, and walks out of Charlie Chan's, leaving the five of you at your empty corner booth.
So we're working for a capitalist pig. But maybe we're going to be disadvantaging another capitalist pig. If we disadvantage them all, they'll collapse.
Good luck with that.
The one we work for is a
Right.
capitalist pig.
Keep your eyes on the prize, and that's the money.
I want everyone to make a perception roll.
Oh, If they're in
A flat.
short range of me, you get a boost die.
Oh, nice. You
If
got
you're
that
within engaged of me, you get 2.
So you guys are all engaged with him. Congratulations. And so you get that.
Plus
that-
2?
I'm applying.
Is that plus 2 boost die?
Plus 2 boost die.
So that's 2 blue for everybody.
What is the difficulty there?
The difficulty that you have is average.
Okay, so like I don't have perception.
You don't have a rank in perception.
I don't have perception, so I just use straight cunning.
Just straight cunning.
So that's 2 green.
I do have a rank in perception, so I get.
So one of those greens becomes yellow.
Okay.
So there's your difficult. Oh, you've already got your green.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay. Then just take the purple.
Put these 2 in.
2 purple. What you need?
3 success.
1 success.
1.
6 advantage.
I failed, but I got 2 advantage.
Oh, that's not
Okay.
right.
3 success, 1 advantage.
I got an awful lot of advantages, but no successes and 1 just
That's one
disadvantage.
disadvantage.
So those will cancel.
So you got 3 advantage.
2 advantage, but no
and
successes.
3 success.
Yep, 3 success.
So who got at least 3 successes?
Yo.
So that's Oni and
Styx.
Styx.
6 advantage.
2 successes?
Dang.
Anybody?
Successes or
Successes.
Okay.
1 success?
1 success, 6 advantage.
Okay, so 6 advantage for our friend Gone. And how many advantage for you?
2.
Lady Widows has 2.
Me too.
I'm just trying to rank like. the-
And he got.
I got 3 advantage, but no success.
Okay, so no success, but 3 advantage. Cool. All right. So as a lot of you are sort of looking at each other, looking at the rest of Charlie Chan's clientele, and watching this Mrs. Chan, which you know to be a sort of a pseudonym, the kind of thing that every hirer of Shadowrunners
Right.
calls themselves in Hong Kong.
Right.
In Seattle, they'd be Mr. Johnson or Mrs. Johnson or
Right.
whatever. As you see this woman walk away,
Korea.
Oni, Styx, the two of you spy a young man in dingy synth leathers watching Mrs. Chan leave. He glances in your direction, ever so slightly. Doesn't make eye contact, but just looks over there. And then he quickly speaks into a phone that seems like a communication device attached to his wrist and scoots after Mrs. Chan.
Be the person of interest. Following our prospective employer.
So, are 1 successes.
I stealthily move towards him.
I don't have a success.
Okay, so who got 1 success?
I got 1.
Okay.
The
So-
floor creaking under my feet.
So you not only notice that, you notice that, and then the multiple successes, the 3 successes, you also notice that he's carrying a, looks like, he's probably a street samurai, because he has got a katana and a large handgun, both holstered inside the synth leathers.
I'm definitely a runner.
What do you think, bodyguard or assassin?
Does she look like the type to hire someone like him?
I don't know.
She hired us.
Well,
Not to follow her around.
she might not have hired it. It might have been her bosses.
Either
Still-
way, I'm sure she'd appreciate the initiative. How about we go and pay this man a visit?
Also, she can't.
Do you
pay
want
us
me to
if she's
follow?
dead.
I can throw my steps.
Stick close,
I
and
can
we'll
follow.
follow behind.
Yeah, I'm not sneaking up on anybody.
Yeah, I've got a rank in stealth.
I can try, but it's not like I just get a blue.
I'm trained. I'm
Oh, yeah.
trained.
So what's
Like-
the plan?
So you take lead,
Can we
and
go
then
off?
we will be following behind. Let me get names down better. Gone.
Gone?
Gone.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm the lead.
Okay, Gone, make a stealth check then.
What
The-
difficulty?
The difficulty is, let's see here. Okay, give me a second.
Now this is the fun part about Genesys, where if you're rolling against somebody, you use their die pool to determine the difficulty.
Yeah.
It's not as complicated as it sounds, but
No.
yeah.
So their perception becomes
the difficulty.
You're difficult.
Too difficult. Too purple.
2 purple?
Too purple.
Do I get a bonus for being able to throw my steps with ghost steps talent?
No, because the amount of people moving around in here, the effectively moot, basically.
Yeah. Having been on the streets of Hong Kong
Yep.
nowadays, you can't hear anything.
So that's 1 success, 3 advantage.
Okay. So what do you want to spend your 3 advantages on?
Keeping us close.
Now, the way that advantages are used, you can
Is there a suggestion?
you can recover strain. For instance, if you've lost strain, you can add a boost die to the next ally who attempts a check. You can notice something important. You can,
Is there a suggestion for the stealth roll?
for the stealth roll, not specifically, but
I know sometimes they have suggestions in that packet.
now for the Star Wars, I think they do, but not this for the general
Not
Genesis
for the
thing. They don't.
Genesis.
You can add a setback die to a target, add a boost die to anyone if you spend 2 advantages. Right? 3 advantages, you could conceal your true goal, learn the desire or fear of the NPC. These are social situations, right?
So I think with
So
3...
you've succeeded. So he's not. So this guy in these dingy synth leathers is not aware of your presence. He's not aware that you have left the booth and are now shadowing him. You see, he is making his way towards the front doors of Charlie Chan, slipping by the rough and tumble troll bouncer out in front, and going after Mrs. Chan. You can see the doors open, the rain-slick streets, and he takes a hard right and follows her down the street.
Yeah, I think for my advantage, I'd be able to, like, keep them on me pretty easily.
Keep us close and
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you do a certain amount of like signaling and stuff like that, low key, to keep everybody as a group.
To help
Okay,
hide
to
them.
help hide them. Okay, that makes sense. All right, so the lot of you pass by the troll bodyguard outside as you can see him. He's got 3 juvies by the scruff of their necks, and he hurls them outside of the bar with a sort of a grumbling, sort of gurgling noise of disgust. And you see those juvies are actively whining and complaining about they have the right to be here, man, and they were just trying to enjoy their drinks, and the trolls having none of it. You sort of step over the scene and continue to make your way past them and after our synth leather man. Keeping out of the light, you follow the man almost 2 blocks, just keeping him in sight. Now you're sure he's following Mrs. Chan. By this time, it's dead obvious.
It's obvious.
But you can't see her from where you are. Ahead of you, you see the man stop. He crouches behind a couple of trash cans, and in the distance, you can hear what sounds like a small chopper taking off. Do you want to draw closer or stay where you are?
I'll draw closer.
Okay, give me another stealth check.
Same.
What about the rest of you? Anything you specifically want to do?
I'd like to draw closer too.
Okay, stealth check.
Yeah, let's take the rest.
what's the difficulty?
Stealth.
I'm not going to stealth.
Sure.
Stealth is not what I do.
Sure.
1 success
Average?
and 1 advantage.
1 success and 1 advantage. Okay.
Yep.
Average?
I'm going to just hang back. I told you that trolls tend to be...
9 feet. 9 feet 2 inches.
So is this a
All
little
right.
bit quieter of a place, or is this still...
Yeah, you're going down blocks and like side streets and alleys and stuff like that. Yeah. This is not the main thoroughfare.
Just 1 advantage.
Just 1 advantage, so you
roll a
didn't succeed.
triumph?
I rolled a triumph.
Nice.
Very nice.
Okay.
But also 2 failures.
Yeah, it's a failure, triumph, and an advantage.
A failure, a triumph, and an advantage.
Technically, isn't that 2
So technically,
No.
So you didn't succeed.
Did not succeed, but I have a triumph
Okay. So what do you want to
and
do?
an advantage.
What do you want to do with that triumph?
I think my triumph is...
So because you failed to be stealthy, you're giving yourself away to this synth leather guy's awareness, right? But what's your triumph?
He doesn't know that you're following him.
I think I
Maybe.
think I want to use that to activate my ghost steps to make it sound like it's from a different alley. So he knows my presence is there, but he thinks I'm somewhere else.
Yeah, you've misdirected it, so he thinks it's coming from somewhere else. Okay. Sounds good.
Spook him like right into your arms.
Okay. So,
So because I hung back, how far away am I from the action?
you are at, I would say, like medium range. You're several feet away, right?
Okay.
To the point where if he looked back behind the alley, he'd see you in the distance. And it's obvious to see a 9-foot tall troll, but probably couldn't pick out exactly, like, your features, maybe. Probably couldn't get those.
He wouldn't realize it was me.
You would know it was
see
you
the
specifically.
of
Yes.
your eye.
Just another troll.
He'd see a one-eyed troll and be like, "Ah, shit!" You know?
Next to a one-eyed woman.
Yeah.
Well, might not see.
Did anybody else succeed on the
She
stealth check?
succeeded.
You
Yeah.
succeeded. Okay.
I succeeded and got an
The
advantage.
massive people, though.
So, Styx, you crouch down and make your way along the right-hand side of the alley, drawing in on the back of this synth-leathered individual. You take a couple of steps forward, and then you find out that... Do you have a comlink on you?
No.
You don't. Okay. As you're making your way through, you see that a nearby hanging neon sign. You see that one of the
Tubes?
One of the tubes. Yes, that's the word. One of the tubes cracks, and there's a quick spray of what looks like electricity and sparks. It's clearly like finally popped and misfired, and you hear. You see and hear the synth-leathered figure jump and then begin to look around. You use your ghost step ability, and you see that he then looks around past the corner of this alleyway for a moment, speaks into his wrist. The words are inaudible at this range, very quietly. And then you see him very quickly stand up from behind the trash cans and sort of bolt off to the right.
I need to follow.
Okay. As the lot of you are making your way, are you all following? Just
Yeah.
making your way down that alley?
Yeah, once
Okay.
I see that this goes down, I start wading through the crowd.
Sure.
Kind of.
As you close it's a pretty empty alley. There's only like a handful of people there. As you're wading through the alley, you see that the copter's whine is growing louder and then becoming more distant. You can see, as you make your way to the end of the alley, you can see the synth-leathered man just now at an active run, moving through the streets. You see that copter taking off. You see it's what looks like a corporate chopper. It's got a logo on the side, but you're not immediately familiar with what it is. Unless you'd like to make a
Yes, I would.
corporations check.
Make a what check?
In this case, knowledge checks are like specifically about like
Oh.
knowledge gang warfare,
Gotcha.
knowledge
I saw that
corporations.
down there.
Yes, I would.
Okay, then please do. The difficulty will be, let's see here. It'll be 2 purple.
Ooh, nice.
All right, I got 3 successes.
3 successes. Very good.
That's pretty successful.
So you know right away that that is the logo of a relatively small company, not a proper corporation, but a small company called Longma Limited. Longma Limited is essentially a Skillsoft and SimSense producer, specifically in the Yaozimong region. That's across the bridge from Hong Kong Island into the mainland. You know that they've been around for like 15 years. but they are up and coming. They're highly competitive. They started making waves. Apparently, they have a pretty talented decker on their crew that has been making a lot of headway in designing these Skillsoft and SimSense chips and everything and programs. That's really pushing them towards the forefront of that development.
Okay, have we pretty much given up on stealth at this point?
I mean, he's running.
He's not aware of you, but he's aware that someone is around.
Yeah.
So he's decided to beat feet. Based on his reaction to the neon sign popping, it seems like he's a nervous sort. He was already on edge.
I mean, we're running towards him, right?
Sure.
Okay.
We have. If our objective was to get him to quit following our employer, then we've succeeded.
Yeah.
So
If we want to figure out
we-
what.
I
he's up
relay
to.
this information that I know about the copter through my comm link to anybody who has one.
Yo,
And
I have not got
we'll,
one.
get discounts on BTLs.
What would we roll to, try to catch up with him?
Oh, do you want to chase after him and try to catch up with him?
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Okay, then you need to make an athletics roll. Because that is pure, like, you're turning on the speed and you're burning energy, rushing after him. Now,
So I need 5 of these.
I guess not
There you go.
coordination. Huh? Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
5 green. Wow.
Yeah, because I got 4 brawn and 1 athletics.
Is it a 2 purple?
No, it's 4 green and the 1 turns into yellow.
that's right.
Remember?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You'll
Yeah.
be rolling the same as me. Nice.
Oh, there we go.
And then the difficulty.
You're good. Yeah. There you go.
Difficulty.
The difficulty
Is
it is 2 purple, but add 2 setback die. Because now that you've gone out of the alley and are now on what is a proper street, there's a lot more people in the way, and it's a lot harder to track him in the sea of bodies.
Okay.
So take your 2 black if you don't have them already. Okay.
Does my size encourage people to get out of my way more easily?
I would say so. Yes.
Okay.
Encourage.
So
What about-
can I enough to discharge a setback die? Or...
In this case, no. It's harder to find him, to track him. It's not really a sense of, these people are in my way. It's more
It's
like,
that.
well, which one is he? Where
I'm
did he
also
go?
3 feet higher than most people on the
Okay,
street.
then actually take one of those. Yeah, that's a
Take
good
one.
point. Take one of those
Thank
away.
3 successes, 1 setback.
Okay.
All right, let's see.
That's so many blank faces.
So this is
Suffer 1 strain.
Okay.
This is a.
Just
I
move
don't
it.
follow.
You don't succeed?
So these two cancel each other
What
out,
about
I
right?
failed miserably, but
And
all my
these two
successes,
cancel each
all
other
my
out.
advantages
Right,
and
no,
setbacks,
this cancels out this.
Yeah.
Canceled
right?
out.
Yes.
I
Okay.
got 3 disadvantages, but no success or failures.
3 disadvantages, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
What is this thing called?
Disadvantage or threat,
So I've got
I think was the proper term.
4 successes and a disadvantage.
Okay.
Nice.
So you take 1 strain.
Okay.
That's what the disadvantage is. That you kind of have to pour on the energy.
okay.
But with 4 successes, you are pounding down this street, pushing people out of the way left and right. The dwarves and human beings with these sort of those clear plastic neon umbrellas are being knocked out of the way. There's a small like ramen cart that you can see goes kind of careening towards the harbor side, and you come directly on this synth leathered guy. You're right behind him. You could reach out and grab him
Oh,
if
I
you
do.
want to. Okay.
And I'm thinking I should have been riding the troll.
That would be good.
So the rest of you,
an APC.
the 2 of you find it difficult to press through the crowd and get a good look on him. Did you have a success?
I didn't try
You had 3.
that hard.
So you're right behind.
Right behind, yeah.
You are right behind
behind.
I knew
Pulse.
they got this.
What about you?
No successes or failures.
Okay. Right. You had the 3 disadvantages.
Yep.
Right.
I took 3 strain, is that correct?
You don't have to.
Oh.
It's something that I
Oh, okay.
put in.
Cool.
I will
Give you other
say.
setbacks.
I will say that you take 1 strain instead,
Okay.
and you are now separated from the rest of the party.
Okay.
You're now stuck in the middle of the sea of crowds. So we've got Pulse and Oni right on top of this guy. You are sort of stuck in the flow of the Hong Kong downtown crowd, and then the 2 of you are at the back, just kind of trying to
I
get
just hang back.
visual confirmation of what's happened.
Well, I'll head towards the huge troll.
Is this one yours, or does it go back into that?
It goes back over there.
Okay.
I'll head towards like.
I
the
have a
direction-
number, like I have a card that says how many I have, so it's not a
Yep.
big deal.
I will head towards the direction that I knew they were running in, and try to just look for the massive troll.
Okay, sure. It's actually easy to spot him.
Yeah,
I mean, you
it's
pretty
easy
quickly go,
to see.
because it
Look
doesn't
up.
seem
Oh,
like
there's him.
in the traffic pattern. There's a lot of in Hong Kong in general. There's maybe like a troll quota of 2%,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which out of 12 million people is a good chunk, but it's
Still.
not compared to humans, which make up like 69-70% of the population. You see the one troll and you're like, that's probably my guy. You can recognize.
That looks like my troll.
That's
So you were going to reach out and grab the guy?
And just scoop him up under his armpits if I can.
Okay, give me a brawl check.
All right.
Well, that's
You
his
can
favorite
do it.
thing to do.
Well, actually, it's not. I went with melee instead. But still, I do have brawl.
Well, yeah,
So
it's
that's going to be 5. Or I'm sorry, it's going to be 4 plus a.
4 plus a yellow?
Or actually,
3 in a yellow.
3 in a yellow.
green.
3 and a yellow.
3 in a yellow.
Because you got 4
brawn.
brawn.
4 brawn and an athletic. Or, I'm
One
sorry,
ath-
and a,
one
and a
brawl.
brawl of 1.
Yep, that's right.
Okay.
So you're rolling 4 dice.
Do you need
Go-
difficult?
Because I'm missing one.
Just a 2.
2? Okay. Alright. That's.
Aw.
Actually,
Not
I got
good.
advantage on that.
Let's see. So this cancels out
But
this
I really couldn't do
and
this.
this.
Yes.
No.
So you got a
this-
I
failure
was figuring I was hanging
and
back.
2 advantage.
Almost
3
didn't roll.
advantage.
3 advantage? I missed.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed
Yeah. A failure and 3 advantage.
A failure and 3 advantage. Okay.
Set him up for me.
Now, what do you want to do with those 3 advantages?
Okay, so failure is I failed to scoop him up, right?
Yeah, so you reach out and try to grab him with your massive hand. He is small enough and fidgety enough that he's able to sort of duck under. You manage to grab a different person as he sort of ducks in behind. But
Okay.
you have 3 advantages. What you can do is you can heal strain by spending one of those,
Okay.
right? 1 per 1, right? Or you can...
Maybe like knock him prone.
That was that's what I was thinking.
yeah, it
actually.
depends on... Yeah, we're just kind of like... We'll have to... It's a narrative system, so we freeform this
A lot
thing.
of
Like
spitballing.
he's trying to escape.
So I've got 3 advantage. 1 I'm going to use to knock him prone.
Okay.
1 I'm going to use to not hurt the person I accidentally
That you accidentally grabbed.
Yeah.
Okay.
And 1
Yeah.
I'm going to use to heal the strain that I took. So
Okay,
there you
so you take one. Yeah,
Yeah.
you gain 1 strain.
So I like pick this person up and then like swing that person's legs over to like knock him over, and then
Sure. Yeah.
Set them gently.
Sorry.
So you pick up this guy in a gray jumpsuit with spiked golden hair, and you like whip him up, and you're like, you
More personal.
gently. You're not like closing your hand too tightly. Legs wheel out. You see that the synth-leathered guy gets kicked in the back of the head by what looks like a sort of a common street sneaker.
Okay.
He bashes him in the head, and he falls to the ground and begins to sort of like scramble, trying to get back up.
Okay. And then I'm like, sorry.
What you doing is fine. It's fine.
Okay.
I'm glad you didn't crush me.
You don't move. To the
Okay,
guy
so you're
who's
going to try to.
laying
You're basically telling that guy not to go.
there. Stay.
Okay,
Coercion?
give me a coercion roll then.
That I'm good at.
There you go.
I've
there you
got
go.
2 ranks in coercion. So
That's
coercion is
Willpower.
Willpower. So that's only one.
So, well,
2
it's
plus this.
So 1 green, 1 yellow.
Yeah.
1 green, 1
There you
yellow.
go.
Green, 1 yellow.
Difficulty?
Difficulty 2.
2. It's always 2.
That's a pretty average guy.
Okay, fair enough.
So while that's
Alright.
going on, I'll like move
So-
around to the other side just in
good.
case he
See,
tries to get
I've
up and
got-
flee.
Good. Okay.
2 successes. No,
Well,
1
one
success.
success.
1 success and
And
1
one
disadvantage.
Yep, that's right.
You take 1 strain.
Okay.
You just got it back.
counted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Up and down.
It's clear that the whipping around of this gentleman in a controlled way to knock down the synth-leathered guy took a little bit more out of you than you wanted.
Gotcha.
You find yourself a little tired as you sprinted, you
words.
pushed through all these people, you whipped a guy around, trying not to kill him. You see that the guy. So you got 1 success, is that right?
Yep.
Yes. So you see as the guy scrambles back up to his feet, he hears the low, intimidating rumble of your voice, and he immediately freezes up and doesn't move.
Okay.
You can see him standing still as other people are like looking at you and looking at him and sort of shuffling around him, like a stone in a river, sort of cutting the current.
Sure. So are my friends caught up to me now, and we're kind of around him?
Yes.
He was right behind
Because
me.
you've made such a sort of a spectacle in the middle of the street, you all are now. You specifically are on sort of a flanking side of him, but the rest of you have come up behind Pulse. You see this guy as you've come around. You get a good look at his front. Yes, you see that he's an ugly looking fella. He is.
Is he human?
He's a human.
Well, I mean, that makes sense. I'm an orc. We look better.
Fashion sense a lot better.
He's a fairly ugly looking fellow, kind of mousy.
Do you have like tusks that like stick out at all times?
Yeah. They're smaller. But,
Small.
like compared to a troll, yeah.
Everything's small compared to a troll.
This is true.
He has a.
Don't want to brag, but you know.
Loading description?
Yeah, give me a moment.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find it.
Yeah, take your time.
Buffering.
There we go. Yeah. He's shabby, unshaven. His skin is all pockmarked. There are some features about him that are kind of like twisted, either due to what looks like maybe damage, rough living, and that sort of thing. He is distinctively unpleasant, even compared to the likes of orcs and trolls and other sort of traditionally ugly creatures. He has a sort of a black synth leather coat on and black pants. His long hair pulled back into a single dirty tail. And you can see him now. He hasn't seen you just yet because the crowd is still sort of milling about. But he says over his shoulder to you, Pulse. He says, "What do you want?"
Just curious.
Sure. What can I? How can I help you?
Just put your hands down.
Yeah.
If
keep
you're
your
like,
hands where I can see them.
You see him lower for just a second, then shoot them back up.
if you're like leaving an opening, like shoot me a glance or something.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll do like the movie classic of emerging from a crowd of people.
Sure. Yeah.
Hands in pockets.
He's sort of
just looking at him.
He jumps a little bit and then tries to steady himself again.
You like chasing after ladies?
He gives you a kind of a toothy smile. Who doesn't?
I'll give you a chance to rethink your answer. Maybe a particular lady tonight of the business of variety. We'd like to know what your interest is.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Huh.
Just out for a stroll.
Look,
That doesn't seem likely. I'm gonna let him hear me moving closer.
Okay.
the hot
Leaving
breath
footprints
on
in
the
the
shoulder.
pavement as I walk towards him.
This ugly, rat-tailed individual is like actively shaking now. You can see him vibrating. Yeah. Can we not do this right now? I'm having a good time just walking around in the streets of Hong Kong and just...
That looks great. There's that wonderful bay over there. Maybe you'd like to take a swim.
No. I think I'm okay. Yeah, I'd rather stay dry if you don't mind.
Really? Because we've got some boots for you to wear too.
How many of you are there?
Yeah.
Enough.
Jesus.
They really help you swim. They get.
I'll
you
come
into
up
that
like
water.
right behind him and like get super close to him and just like click the hammer back on my gun and go, would you like to go somewhere more private?
No, I'm good. I'm good. I like the public area. It's very good. It's fine. There's lots of people here. We're having a good time, aren't we? We're having a great time.
We're all buddies. I put
great
my
time.
big paw on his back. Pat.
Okay.
So tell us how you know the lady.
Okay. I don't know her. Okay. I got this call. All right. Nothing big. Follow the blonde. Call in a report. That's it. No contract, nothing. Okay? The guy on the phone, they gave me the starting block, you know? He told me to go to Charlie Chan's and follow this link. That's it. When she left, I was supposed to follow her and give the voice. Never gave me any information. The report, I get 100 new yen. It's easy. That's it.
The report of what?
What she's doing, where she went. That's it.
You seem to not like rotorcraft.
Well, I needed to know where she was going. I was just following her, just tailing her. I needed to know where she was going. She got in a chopper and took off.
I don't think he's gonna know much else.
Give me your comm link.
You're really gonna mug this man
Yes.
in front of everyone. You
No,
do
I'm
realize
gonna
we have
persuade him to give me his comm link.
Okay, how? The violent kind of persuade or the persuade kind of persuade?
The threatening kind of persuasion.
Okay, then do coercion roll.
Coercion
This
kind
gentleman,
of
please.
persuade.
The difficulty will be 2, but you will get a boost die because everyone else has already scared the shit out.
He's got no shit left.
You're welcome.
Just doing our job.
Oh, I see 2. Success.
One success.
Okay, so you see him. He looks back behind over his shoulder at you, and then very slowly he kind of gives you a gesture like, I'm moving my hands now. Please don't do anything. You see him reach inside his leathers and then hand the comm link to you shakily.
I take it.
Well, what was he talking to on his wrist then?
Huh?
You said he's talking to something on his wrist?
Well, you can see now that he's got his hands up, that his
got like a little
the sleeves
holder.
of his synth leather have gone down. You can see a little sort of wrist-style communicator that looks like a bracelet.
Oh,
It
that's
looks
a
like
different thing than a comm link.
it looks like it's meant to probably sync in wirelessly with the comm link,
Yeah,
so you don't
it's
necessarily have
like
to
the-
have that out. You can just
Oh, okay.
Bluetooth
Cool.
it.
All right.
think of it
Just
like a
checking.
Bluetooth
Okay.
thing. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's not a special kind of... Okay.
That's
Thank you for your cooperation.
Yeah. Yeah. Can I go now?
As far as I'm concerned, you can, but you may have to talk to the troll.
Can I go now, please?
He's good to go.
Yeah.
Unclick the hammer on my gun and take a step
As soon
back.
as he hears that, you see him bolt. He continues to run, threading through the crowd until he disappears in the crowd of people.
So why
right.
you want his comm link?
Yeah,
God,
because
he's
now we
not.
gotta move.
Yeah, we do.
But we can figure out who he's talking
Want to
to.
ride?
Yeah, maybe.
If we find we don't
Any
have
of
a
you
deck or
good?
do.
Yeah, any of you deckers?
You need a comm link, don't you?
Yeah, he doesn't need a stolen one. That's gonna get traced.
It's a little.
I thought I was the dumb one here.
Could always sell it.
Why you want his
Dirt
comm?
cheap, sure. You want to mug little people, go for it. But I am for
I
the big
didn't mug
fish.
him. He gave it to me with his own free will.
Yeah,
Courts
That's-
might look at it differently, but
that's not how that works.
Well, if somebody just needs a burner, then it'll be under
Honestly,
someone else's
I
name.
thought maybe we could hire a decker.
Hey, you want to burn that money to find some rando? Go for it. But right now, we've got a job, and we got what, 3.5 hours left?
yeah.
We should probably
Hit the bar.
mosey. Yeah.
We might want to mention that she was followed.
Oh, definitely.
And now we have a comm link to give her.
I don't
They-
know that she's
they
gonna
might
want
have a
stolen
decker.
merchandise.
Yeah. Problem with comments
They
is
would
they can
have
be
lots of
traced.
deckers.
Well, you really think he's going to report this?
No, but he's gonna have friends.
I assumed a lot of you are talking about this in a low tone.
As we're moving.
Yeah.
As
As you're
we're
moving.
walking.
Okay, you are
Yeah.
moving. Okay.
Hushed tones as we're moving
Very
through
good.
the streets. Even if not to the bar, to anywhere else.
Somewhere that's not
So
here.
where specifically are you heading?
I could have him on one shoulder and her on the other shoulder so that they can talk sort of close together
No, I
without...
can walk.
Okay.
I'll ride the troll.
Just yelling up to you.
So where specifically are you heading right now?
Probably towards the bar that she wants to meet at.
The it's not a bar, it's a tea house.
Excuse me. So sorry.
I just want to make sure that it's a different kind of
Sing
establishment,
about
right?
it.
The Lukyu Tea House is in the same area in this downtown Hong Kong region, but it's a couple of miles to the west. So you're
I
gonna
mean, we need to get
Shenron?
going then.
you could it's close to closer to Victoria Peak, like you're looking at
Okay.
Shomwan.
Up in the mountains a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Shomwan.
Very close
Okay.
to
Here, for
the
Google Maps for reference.
Nice.
Lidong building, Ezra's Lane, that sort of thing.
He's doing more up in that area. I've seen.
So making your way over there is going to take a little bit of time, especially if you're just going on foot. Now you could hire a taxi or something like that to get you there quicker,
just call
but
Bob. It's
you've
fine.
got like 3.5 hours. So,
I named my taxi driver Bob because I thought it was fun.
so you have a contact as a taxi driver.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Do you want to call Bob?
We could just walk. It's okay.
Because does Bob have
It's a nice night.
troll-sized accommodation?
Probably not.
Some of us can walk, some of us can drive. It's fine. We're more physical people. It works.
Yeah.
I'm riding the troll down.
I mean, you have 3.5 hours.
I
That's
really just
more
walk,
than
it's
enough
okay.
time
More than
to
enough
get
time.
over to.
But if we run into trouble, just so you know, I do know a taxi driver.
That's good.
And I'm probably
Do
butchering
we want
this
to?
Cantonese.
I
I could
don't know
always
how to
go
pronounce half of
ahead
it, yeah.
and just keep a lookout.
It's a tonal language, and we don't know the tone.
Yes.
So we're kind of.
Oh, believe me, I took my Chinese course.
Oh yeah.
So we could probably still walk and have plenty of time to scout out, though, honestly. If it's only a couple miles, we have 3.5 hours.
Crowds make it more difficult, but
The majority of Miss Changs aren't going to backstab us before even talking to us.
well, I was thinking just for other people
More.
that might be following,
That's a fair point.
other people that might also be staking it out.
If our friend passed off the fact that she got into a chopper, then that's going to be pretty easy to follow.
It sounds like we're meeting Chang, but probably another Chang for debriefing.
Who knows?
Chan.
It is Chan.
Racist. All the same to you.
Damn, cornered.
All right.
Yeah, let's go
So,
for a walk. It's
let's
going to
go.
take a little while.
We'll stroll off to the tea house.
Okay. So
What a
you
nice house along.
push your way through the crowds, making your way over
I walk directly
puddles
behind the
and soaking in the sort of misty night atmosphere of downtown Hong Kong. You see as you're walking through, those of you that have comlinks, they are lighting up with augmented reality displays of snack food products and refills of prescriptions that you bought recently, and the whole place is this sort of disorienting mash of neon signage and people using their comlinks, talking about, and ads everywhere. As you push your way farther west towards the Lukyu Tea House, you see that the intensity of the advertisements, the neon, the brightness, the complexity of life is beginning to sort of take a couple steps back. It seems like a little quieter, a little bit more structured in this part of the area. You come across. I'll assume this takes, unless you're doing anything else. I'll assume it takes enough time. You're just getting there at the right time. It's a little bit before 4 a.m. Specifically, it's 3:30 in the morning. Was
I thought it was supposed to be your one.
Sorry, it's 12:30.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. You come across this very traditional-looking colonial tea house. You can see that there are two orcish, maybe bouncers, maybe security. They look like security given their dress. Standing outside, just outside of a curtained entryway into a traditional-looking sort of Chinese pagoda-style sort of building. You get the smell of chamomile and strong teas just sort of wafting in. And you realize that checking your comlink with the address and everything from the Matrix, like, this is the place.
Mm-hmm.
As I check in my gun, I ask them, "Is it okay to smoke inside?"
So you see as you're approaching, are you already like going ahead and
Yeah.
doing your things? You see that the orc bodyguard, the one on the left, is going to give you a once-over. And he's like, yeah, you're allowed to smoke. We don't do that here. It's done inside.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Then puts a hand out. You with any of us? Do you have an invite?
yes.
Erlin is the name you forgot.
Looks towards you.
Right.
I don't have much presence.
If you'll give me just a moment.
Of course.
He takes out a comm link from inside his suit jacket and then speaks into it briefly, dials a number, hits a contact number. Yeah. Look like mercenaries.
One of them's riding the troll.
Yeah, one of them's a fucking troll. He doesn't. It's not. He says that in a way that's like
Lovingly?
not lovingly, but not in a racist way. It's just like, this guy's a fucking troll. Like,
Yeah.
and he pauses for a second.
Racist.
Yeah.
It's not
Fuck you
invade.
in general.
Puts
Not
the
your
comm
species.
link back into his jacket. You're free to go. Come on in.
I hop down off the troll because I doubt the door's big enough.
Yeah.
It's not. It's barely big enough,
Big enough.
for you.
Yeah. Probably
Except to
not,
duck in,
not every
yeah.
door accommodates for a troll.
And you see, as you file in, the other orcish member of security tosses over his shoulder. Mind your behavior.
Of course.
All right.
I'm not the one throwing around racial slurs, my friend.
Inside, you see again in the style of a traditional colonial tea house, lots of lacquered wood and simple tables with fine dressing about. There is a sort of a warm, kind of velvety sort of quality to the inside. You see that milling about are staff members in traditional Chinese clothing. They are of all sort of racial and species sort of variants, but they're all dressed in that same sort of traditional silk Chinese clothing, and they all have what look like attached to their temples are these gray sort of rectangles jutting out just a little bit past the sort of the end ridge of their eye sockets.
So just like this, or like
Coming out just a little bit past the ridge of the eye socket, right here. So they're like
blinder.
almost like blinders, like a horse would wear, but not that severe.
Very-
Just
yeah.
a little
They,
bit.
but they're like clipped into their skin. They're not.
Yeah, they look like they're hardwired in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Huh.
Now you can't
Terms
see.
of employment seem kind of severe.
Now you can't see so much as like a scar or anything. It's seamless, but it's clear that it's attached to them.
Good surgery.
It's intent. I'll look around for Miss Jan.
Yeah.
Ask where do we
gotta go.
sit?
You do not see her,
Did she tell
at least
you?
immediately. You could
She
make a
tells us specific-
perception check if you want to really scan the
Oh,
crowd.
just
I
here.
call one of the employees over.
Okay, a light-skinned, looks like a African descended a female approaches you. Yes, what can I do for you, ma'am?
We're with the early party?
Erlin.
Erlin. We're with the Erlin party. Could you please direct us?
Oh, yes, of course. You'll want to be in private suite number 3.
Okay.
And she puts this way and bows and takes you through the. And at this point, there's only 15 or 20 people inside this tea house. It's very quiet, sort of. What feels more of a polite and mature atmosphere than, say, even the atmosphere at Charlie Chan's, and certainly not at your average sort of run-of-the-mill sprawl bar. She leads you back through to a patterned door, and pushes the door open, and then gestures for you to walk inside.
All right.
As you are making your way through, you see that inside is a small room. differently dressed than the rest of the tea house. It looks more like an executive lounge. Inside is a legless vinyl couch, a card table with 5 straight-backed wooden chairs, and seated on the arm of the couch, next to some kind of electronic box, it's hard to figure out exactly what this thing is at the moment, is a huge, for human standards, Native American man. This man is wearing what looks like a fine suit, clearly made out of high-quality materials. Suit jacket, vest, dress shirt, pants, immaculate loafers. But you can see that woven into the suit are these sort of Native American heritage touches, clearly meant to signify belonging to some kind of tribe. You see what looks like faux leather fringe coming off of the bottom of the suit jackets. You can see that the loafers look to be of a kind of...
Moccasin.
They suggest a moccasin-like design. You can see that around this gentleman's neck is hand-sewn beads, several, 20 of them along what looks like a sort of a rustic string. As you enter the room, he reaches over to the electronic box, flips a switch in front of it, and rises to meet you. You can hear, after that switch is triggered, a faint, relaxing hum filling the room.
So, are we ever going to describe ourselves?
Now's a good time to do that if you want to.
Walk in the room.
Okay, I'll go first, I guess, since it was my idea.
Yep.
Lady Widow is a 32-year-old woman. She's 6'1". She has dusty skin, black hair, brown eyes, or brown eye. And she's also wearing an eye patch made out of minotaur horn with an eye of Ra gold inlay.
Oh.
You just
Kind of racist.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, you're a Cyclops. Not a
I am, but still. Well,
Those are my cousins.
Yeah.
So much racism.
I definitely got like those red tinted goggles on. I'm probably always like smoking like red licorice like vape.
oh god.
Just smell like a candy store.
Okay. Next.
Styx is probably about 5'6". She's 20 for a clone, but I don't think clones really have a childhood.
No.
Blonde hair.
If they
green
need one,
eyes.
they're probably programmed in, simulated.
She's just pale and, built to look appealing and sell things, basically.
She will sell you your death.
I mean, my personal case.
You will buy it.
She's
Pulse.
just wearing the armored clothing and dark clothes. So.
Pulse is a 9'2" Cyclops.
Yeah, definitely.
He's got one bright blue eye. Blue is the Mediterranean. He's a redhead.
At this point, the Mediterranean's probably sludge brown.
Unfortunately.
Blue is the
In
Mediterranean.
the
used to be.
classic sense.
Homer called it
Poetic.
wine dark. We'll stick with that.
Sure. Yeah.
So you got very close cropped red hair, and a sort of a military bearing from his training. He was a Marine, and then moved to sort of semi-organized crime before becoming a runner.
A proper Shadowrun.
Yeah.
What is he wearing?
Oh, old fatigues.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. His tastes are simple.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, things you could get out of a military surplus store or something.
Sure.
That kind of quality stuff.
Yeah, it's a little worn
Sure,
because he doesn't
yeah.
find chances to buy new very often,
Sure, because of the sizing that they have to do,
Exactly.
it is more expensive to buy
Yeah.
The 5X
troll
large.
variants of those. Yeah.
You
And it's
have
still
a-
small.
you can't go to Colonel Bubby's and just
buy a troll-sized set of fatigues.
Unfortunately, no.
The big and tall stores are
Really fucking big and tall is the name of the...
Exactly.
big and tall.
Big troll. Yeah.
Yeah, because that covers orcs and trolls. Big and trolls.
Yeah. He's got a ballistic shield that he generally carries on his back when he's just moving around and
Back scratcher.
yeah.
Sounds good.
I got the steampunk armor, so that fits the whole.
So you've got like a
the
vest and
goggles
a
and the
blouse and
vest.
everything. The vest, yeah. Okay. What about Oni?
Oni's got kind of like your motorcycle street leathers in terms of armor. Probably about like 6 foot tall. Has kind of shortened but sharpened horns or tusks coming out of the mouth.
Yeah.
Aside from that, probably like slightly balding, kind of getting that crop in the front. Brown hair, blue eyes. Definitely has that like doesn't have the military bearing that you have, that Pulse has, but it always has this tomahawk on his hip.
You've seen some shit. You're ready. Yeah.
It's kind of that fast and loose look when it comes to combat.
Makes perfect sense.
Lady Widow is also wearing like a suit that looks like she bought it from the same guy that John Wick was in John Wick
Sure.
2.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Something classy, but clearly bulletproof. Yeah, or bullet resistant, let's say. Yes. So this Native American guy with shoulder-length silver hair and what looks like a blank but pleasant face. It's hard to read a lot off of him, but it seems like a pleasant man. So he rises to greet you. Who's in front? Who came in first?
Probably me.
I'll take second then.
Okay. He rises and extends his hand to you, the handshake.
Shake his hand.
Good evening. Ladies, gentlemen. My name is Erlen Maines, son of Ishir Many Maines and president of Lanma Limited.
President of what?
Lanma Limited.
Lanma.
Is it Lanma or Longma? Longma Limited.
LONMA?
LONGMA Limited. The same company
That we
whose
saw.
logo you saw on the nearby chopper. You see, the woman who brought you here is Roxanne Wunter. We would like to acquire your services.
Well, you should know that Miss Winter was followed by a disposable asset that had this comlink that he was communicating her position and what she did on it.
He reaches over, takes the comlink quietly, gives it a brief look over, and then gestures for what looks like a faceless security personnel to come over, hands that to him, get that analyzed. Thank you. That's
You're welcome.
most impressive.
We endeavor to give satisfaction.
That's good, because I have need of satisfaction, and quickly. Now the task we'd like to hire you for is a simple one. Last night, a member of my staff assisted several thieves in stealing 3 data chips from my company's stores. We put up a spirited defense, but all of the thieves managed to get away. The one who helped them turned against me. He was like a son to me. But that is no more. I have to have these chips back. The company must have these chips back. The actual thieves themselves, little consequence. Stolen merchandise is vital. It needs to be recovered soon and cleanly. Otherwise, the company faces severe setbacks, we'll say. Now, time is of the essence. However, I advise that you not charge into battle with pride and self-importance all over you. This run must be accomplished silently Am I understood?
Yes.
Even a hint of your activities could prove disastrous.
A hint to whom?
Competitors.
Someone's going to know we're there.
Fellow companies, corporations, the police, private security firms. I need discreet, quick action.
Do you
Do
want us?
you know who these thieves represented?
I do not.
Do you have a place for us to start?
I do. I'm willing to pay competitive rates for this. Well worth your time and effort. But I have to have the chips delivered here into Roxanne's hands no later than 9 a.m. Friday. It's Sunday night now. That gives you about 4.5 days to do your job.
Is there a bonus if we bring back the former employee for discipline?
That can be discussed. The only thing I need
Oh, the chips.
chips.
How will we know them from other chips? Any chip we find, we need to know these.
He kind of gives you a look, and there's this kind of like a soft smile to his face. You'll know. Now, I'm glad we can come to an agreement.
It'll be in your key items inventory. You can't sell them.
I'm very busy with the operation of the company and obviously damage control done based on last night's theft. I'm not able to assign the attention necessary to guide this project, so therefore I'm handing over complete control of this operation to Roxanne. You'll see her in just a moment. Deal with her as you would deal with me. Do we understand each other?
Yes.
Of course, so far.
Now, it pains me to say that you're going to begin your search of a young man named Teehee. Teehee, like the laugh, right? He is, or was, a matrix runner with my company. Very bright boy. But for reasons unknown, he assisted last night's theft. I assume he left with them. Either way, he has obviously not shown up to work. We did an exhaustive search of his apartment. Turned up nothing. We examined his office. Nothing. I think perhaps he's gone underground. Roxanne will give you any additional information you need to try to pinpoint the boy. Let me stress 2 important points to you. Not only do I need this job done discreetly, but there are 2 other caveats. Point 1. Do not attempt to use the chips once you find them. They're prototypes. They haven't been sufficiently tested. If you do use them, you could be at the risk of permanent neural damage. Secondly, these chips are unique. We have no backups because the thieves trashed the data store that led to their development. These physical chips must not be damaged unless absolutely necessary. And if they are damaged, your pay is damaged as well.
Fair enough.
In the instance that these chips have already been installed in the thieves, what would you like us to do?
Remove them. Forcibly, if necessary.
All right.
If they've been installed and are being used, what will we be up against?
You don't know, do you?
Are we talking BTLs or are we talking skills?
I'm president of Longma Limited. I know everything that goes on in this
You
company.
said they hadn't been tested yet.
They are not fully tested. They're better than life chips. Specifically dream chips. They contain within them an experimental set of personalities intended to heighten the artificial experience of the person using the chip. These personalities I am not at liberty to share with you due to trade secrets and certain legal strictures here in the free enterprise zone. But I can tell you that they are not to be trifled with.
Absolutely.
Particularly if these personalities have superseded that of their hosts. As I said, these chips are untested. I can't guarantee what they might have done to their users, if they're being used at all.
So there are 3 chips and there were 3 thieves, right?
Yes. In addition to
In
T.
addition to
Tee.
All right.
Fort.
Hmm?
Fort.
You see that he kind of scans the lot of you, looks at your faces, comes to a kind of an understanding, nods his head slightly. Looks at his wrist. You can see a very fine gold inlaid watch. It's an analog watch too. He takes a look at it. I'm afraid I must leave you in the capable hands of Roxanne. A very important board of directors meeting at 9:30 Friday morning that I must prepare for. You can imagine that the board is very concerned about these recent issues.
Imagine.
You'll be speaking with Roxanne as to the exact payment that you'll be receiving. Feel free to barter, haggle with her, if you will. But I can assure you that our going rates are competitive. Good luck.
Thank you.
He then leaves the electronic box on the couch, still humming, getting that pleasant sort of hum throughout the room.
Is that hum like impairing our ability to do violence or something? Is there
No.
Doesn't seem like it.
It's like
It's just an
Oh.
auditory thing.
It's to jam.
it's like white
It's
noise.
to jam.
Probably a white noise machine.
Right.
Now, I assume that you Shadowrunners have done at least a job before.
Okay.
You know that standard issue when you're meeting in places for them to have some kind of noise generator to make sure that...
Right. To
It's
jam,
harder
jam into
to-
recording devices. Or,
Well, not necessarily. But to make it harder to pick out the actual
Conversation.
Someone's
conversation
trying to
going
eavesdrop.
on. Yeah. Eavesdropping, either electronic or otherwise, is made that much harder.
It's a very small countermeasure.
Yeah.
But an easy one to take.
So you see him leave, and sure enough, at the same time,
is-
Roxanne, the Mrs. Chan that you saw earlier, steps in. And you see that she comes forward. Ladies and gentlemen, if we could get started, I have all of the information we were able to acquire on Teehee. And you can see that she puts down a what looks like a what you would call a data pad, basically, like a supersized comlink, essentially, like a tablet. She places that on a nearby table and then begins sort of thumbing through the information. Now, Teehee started with the Longma Limited about 2 years ago, straight out of the University of Hong Kong. He's been a valuable member of our design team, leading the way on several breakthroughs in Skillsoft and SimSense development. A talented decker, but he's always seemed somewhat lost when not in the Matrix. He's very naive, forgets things constantly, like how to get to the store. I must admit I'm surprised he's even lived as long as he has. We sent a team to his apartment, as I'm sure Mr. Maines mentioned, first thing this morning. It seems he forgot to pay his rent and was kicked out about 2 weeks ago. Our personnel entered the apartment, hadn't been entered in several days by any of the occupants. No thermal readings, thick dust cover, the works. An extensive search revealed nothing. We have no idea where he's been sleeping for the past 2 weeks. His office was a little more interesting. You see, she gestures to a nearby security personnel who's holding what looks like an attaché case. Hands it over to Roxanne. She puts it on the table, thumbs it open, opens it up, and you can see a what looks like a series of sort of assorted bric-a-brac. I had the entire contents of his office desk brought here inside this case. You can make of it what you will. Unfortunately, that is all I have to offer you.
Picture of him?
Of course. I'll have that sent to your colleagues.
No thermal residue, but any magical residue? Do you think he was persuaded through magical means?
Our team was not set up to determine any magical influence, but there were no obvious signs.
No totems under the below.
The place was clean. Well, as clean as an abandoned apartment.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the bric-a-brac?
You can see inside. There's a series of items. A disposable lighter. There's a stack of data chips. A SimSense player with 8 discs in a sort of a holding case. You see a package of herbal tea. A hollow cube. It's not currently activated. Several electronic resistors, right?
Mm-hmm.
An electronic toy. It's in the shape of what looks like it's like a gorilla or something like that. It's currently unactive. It looks like it has some kind of movement. Right? You see a breadboard. If you're not familiar with a breadboard, which is like a sort of a development piece, it's like you put electronic components into it to do something.
Work out if you want to design a circuit board, you can start out with a breadboard and test your idea.
2 circuit boards, which look like they are part of a cyber deck. You see a miniature toolkit, clearly meant for the same usages on a cyber deck or some kind of fine circuit manipulation. Tickets to last week's Urban Brawl game at the Kingdom.
At the Kingdom in Seattle?
So cool.
No.
Sometimes you fly around a lot.
I mean, the Kingdom's not there anymore. It was dynamited. But I don't know when this was lit.
Well,
when this was... Yeah.
And that's it. All inside this attaché case. You can see that Roxanne sort of, gestures for it and sort of steps aside, goes to the bar, and you can see she removes a comlink and begins speaking into it, making some kind of business call.
Turn on the hollow cube.
Wouldn't it suck if the guy that we let go was actually TV?
That would be bad.
Okay, so what I need you to do is computers check.
Aw.
None of us know how to do that, right?
Computers.
I don't have computers, so it needs
I don't
to
either,
intellect?
but can you
Then it
roll
would just be
anyway?
intellect. Yeah, of course. If you don't have a rank in computers, you can still roll,
I
but
should
you
probably
Difficulty of 2?
you're just using intellect. The difficulty is 2. Yes. You want to do it? Everyone can feel free to try it if they'd like.
Well,
I've got a 1, so I'll...
2 successes and 2 disadvantage.
2 successes and 1 disadvantage. Alright.
Okay. Take 1 strain.
This is why we'll...
Take 1 strain and almost drop the hollow cube as you're fiddling with it.
1 advantage, no successes.
1 advantage. Okay. Gain 1 strain. Recover 1 strain.
Oh.
As you take a moment, you're now in this sort of relaxing environment. You're just looking at some things that to you are the size of, it's like a sugar cube, basically to you. Yeah.
I think I'm just hanging back, waiting to
As a lot of you are sort of poring over this hollow cube, you realize that it's soft locked. There's some kind of either
Was that when we
input
knew
pattern or something that is able to sort of activate this thing. It's not a simple sort of
Yeah.
binary switch. But after a moment, you're fiddling with it, you're trying different inputs, and eventually the hollow cube springs to life and begins showing pictures in a sort of a small display illuminating from the top of the cube. As you are swiping through, you see images of what look like a simple-looking fellow with like a vaguish daze about him and a slight grin, with a severely spiked neon blue mohawk. You see that he is dressed in like what looks like sort of his wardrobe is eclectic. Neo-Hunnish with American Indian, expensive accessories and odd bits of junk, sort of.
Neo-Hunnish.
Yes.
All right.
Buckle up.
Not sure what that's all about.
He's got kind of a glazed look in his eyes.
This is presumably TV.
That you presume that's tea. You haven't received it on your comlink stuff from Roxanne. You also see looks like some friends. It looks like this has been taking place in probably a college dorm room. It looks like about that period of time. Teehee looks considerably younger than you were expecting. It looks like he's the center of attention in this photograph. He's poking a kind of a mugging towards the camera. As you're flipping through, you see that most of these photographs are the same. Are of similar shots. Teehee and it looks like college friends and some kind of campus.
There aren't like 3 of these college friends, are there?
No.
Okay.
You see that one of those pictures is not like the others. There's only one of these pictures without Teehee.
Okay. Yeah, let's look at that one.
The only person in that picture is a white-haired man smiling up at the camera from his desk, holding a cyber terminal. The caption on that picture, well, there haven't been captions on either of these pictures so far. The caption on that picture reads, Dr. Hendricks. Did anybody get more than 2 successes? Or did they get 2 successes?
I got 2 successes.
Okay. Both of you notice that in the man's other hand, in the photograph, he's clutching a large coffee cup. But just before his skin sort of covers the side of the coffee cup, you can see the word flare imprinted on the side. F-L-A-I-R. Like the kind of stuff you'd wear at in Office Space, right? The flare.
Need at least 14 pieces of flare.
Now this guy,
we all got
this older man, he has a he's looking like a small fellow. He's a human being. He looks like he's wearing, in the photograph, which you can see, jeans. It looks like there's a sweatshirt. You can clearly see what looks like, based on the abbreviation, it's probably a University of Hong Kong sweatshirt. Long hair pulled back in a ponytail. And again, you can see him clutching a cyber terminal in one hand, coughing the other, looking up at the camera, and giving a kind of a smile. And it's labeled again, Dr. Hendricks.
Can I use my corporate knowledge to find out if he's affiliated with a corp?
Yeah, please do. That's a difficulty of 2, standard difficulty.
Okay. So that's 2 successes and 1 advantage.
Okay, you take a look at this guy and you see it doesn't match any high-profile figures that you know about, and at least the mega corporations. Maybe this guy belongs to one of the smaller companies, but you don't have any read on this guy.
Okay.
Any other examination of the items?
Yeah, trying to remember what all was in there. And there was
Well,
a
there's
thing that I
stack of
thought...
data chips. There's a little gorilla
This is the
figurine.
it's the lighter
Breadboard, 2 circuit boards,
Yep.
miniature toolkit, an electronic toy that looks like a gorilla, several resistors, just like things that you would put in a plug in a breadboard, the tickets to the Urban Brawl game, stack of data chips, SimSense player with 8 discs, a hollow cube, which you're already examining, and a package of herbal tea.
Sniff the tea.
Okay. You see, as you take this very small with your big hands, and you're sniffing it, you can see as you bring it close to your face, you can see that the wrapping on it is in pretty bad shape.
Oh.
However, the smell That's very fresh. It's clearly that probably the package of herbal tea has been mishandled or roughly handled, but the tea hasn't been used necessarily. It's still fresh and current.
Is it just tea?
It smells like an organic blend of herbal tea, at least to your initial.
Is there a tag on it?
You open it and see what's inside.
It's a very small tag that you find it very difficult to read,
Would you like some help?
given the size.
You know I could do that for.
Do you want to make a perception check for me?
Okay.
All right, I'll be down here if you want me help.
I just want to see if I
Remember,
can
you
do
get
it.
2 boost die.
Oh, that's right. My cunning is 2.
I think I'm gonna grab that sim.
Difficulty of 2.
Difficulty of 3.
Yeah.
Three.
What's
Well,
about
sorry,
two.
difficulty of 2
For some
plus a
reason, I think
setback.
he's
Because
got
it's a
quite
small,
few
it's a
pieces.
small
Did you
tag,
boost die?
and you're a big man.
Good.
Did you get the boost die?
Only one out of 5.
Do I get? Oh, I get a boost die.
2.
2 boost dice.
Wow.
Oh,
Because it
thank
hits.
you.
There you go.
As long as I'm
proximity.
engaged.
All right.
Nice,
Uh-huh.
but also not so nice.
Aww.
Yeah, there. I know. So,
See, that's
One
the only thing that's
I got
frustrating
one
about this
advantage.
system. Yeah, you can roll
One
that many
advantage.
dice and end up with
That's
one
all.
advantage.
I want the statistics.
Do you want some help now?
I can't open it.
So one advantage, it's hard. The tag is printed in such small, and stylized lettering that
You're set.
you'd have to put this herbal tea package into your one eye to try to read it, and you would do so very poorly at that. However, with your advantage, you do recognize the scent after a while.
Okay.
Okay, all right, you're familiar with that brand of herbal tea. You know that gets sold in organic groceries most of the time. It's not something that you could pick up at a stuffer shack. It would be you'd have to go to a particular place for it, like a mom and pop store.
Okay.
And you know that kind of stuff usually gets sold. At least that you usually are familiar with that scent coming out of Yaozimong, which is on the mainland across the
Okay.
bridge.
All
And
right.
on Yaozimong is the Golden Mile, right, where there's all kinds of vendors, stalls, peddlers, shops lining both sides of the street, stretching into the mainland. You can find cheap electronics and all manner of goods there. It's basically the shopping district for the lower end, right?
Okay.
It's not the high-end stuff, but it's practically like a miles-long bazaar. Right.
Street market.
Nice. Okay. Can you open it?
Sure. What do you
My
want me to roll?
fingers are too big.
What do you want me to roll to open the tea bag?
You don't need. You have human hands. It's a human-sized bag. So you open that up, and you're able to
You could just
To-
ripped it.
take a look at the tag. The tag says Orion's Special Blend, Orion's Organic Grocery,
Orion is in the
belt.
constellation?
Yes.
Okay.
and you see that
It's
it
automatic,
says
so-
Mongkok, Mongkok. Now, having been in the Hong Kong Free Enterprise Zone for a while, you know that Mongkok is a district, is a place on the mainland inside Yaozimong.
Okay.
Specifically, it's like a neighborhood, a subsection. So it looks like this blend is a special blend from a mom and pop place called Orion's Organic Grocery there in Yaozimong.
Well, if he has a tea addiction, he might have to stop by there.
That's true.
They might be from there.
I'm going to be putting on the Semi-Sense player.
Okay. You see that it's the standard sort of suite of, you see some pornography, you see some what look like action vids and things like that. As you're combing through them, this doesn't look like anything relevant.
Pretty generic.
It's generic stuff, like the stuff you'd find on anybody's Simpsons player.
It's not like
Didn't
the
delete his
heavy
browser
details.
history is what I'm getting.
Basically, no, all this stuff is just out. Yeah. Anything else? There's still the breadboard, the circuit boards, the lighter.
It's lighter.
Lighter.
You want to take a look at the lighter? Yeah, the lighter currently lights. Yeah, it looks like a cheap disposable lighter. It's not anything fancy. However, there is, and it does take a few couple of flicks to get it going. It looks like it's probably almost out of fuel. It's near the end of its life. But you can see that there's circuit diagrams worked into the body of the lighter.
So it's a nice, like, refillable calculator. It's not like a big...
No, it is
disposable.
cheap and disposable.
Oh.
But there are circuit diagrams as kind of like a pattern, a decoration on the body of the light.
He liked this design at the gas station.
I guess.
What about the data chips?
The data chips, they look like discarded sort of... They look to be sort of entry-level data chips that you would use to sort of like, again, augment the breadboard or pop into a
Credit chip.
a cyber deck to sort of like change capabilities or store data or something like that. They look like your generic sort of data chips.
Okay.
Without sort of attaching them to a cyber deck or like a direct neural interface or something like that, you wouldn't be able to know what was on them.
Well, I have a question for Miss Shannon.
Give me a perception check as you're looking over this lighter.
Difficulty?
Difficulty of 3.
The winner is
Is a winner you? The winner is you?
1 success. Yeah, 1 success.
Just 1 success? Very good. So you're taking a look at this lighter, and then you notice, okay, that's not just a pattern. There's some kind of wording inside the circuit board pattern on the side of this lighter. You turn it off to the side and get it in just the right light, and you can see the words breadboard, quaff, and stuff.
Breadboard, cloth, and
Did someone look that up on a comlink?
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to, yeah.
I don't have one.
To drink the breadboard? Yeah, if you had a comlink, you could put that into Matrix. Like, what the hell is that? Yeah.
You have a
Pop
comlink.
that out. Do a quick little search, see if that brings anything up.
Okay, you type in breadboard, quaff, and stuff, and you get an immediate response. It's a small tavern. It looks like it is on the same. It's in a side street in in what is technically a quasi-urban area in Yaotzimong, in that same district where you understand that this Orion's organic grocery is.
Is Roxanne still on the phone?
Roxanne has already finished her conversation, is now just sort of waiting by the bar, like ready to sort of field any additional questions.
Does Teehee live in Yaotzimong?
Where is he from?
No.
You went to his apartment.
No, his apartment was in the Kowloon Walled City.
What about his family?
Did he grow up
None to speak of.
Why? What's his connection to Yaotzimong?
I don't know.
Was he the lead on this particular project that
Yes.
was stolen?
He was the driving force behind it.
Would he have... What's the suspected motive here? Was he jealous? Did he want it to himself? Did he feel shorted? It would help us determine how far he's willing to go.
Erlen knew more
How soon?
about
Contact
Teehee,
us.
knew more intimately about Teehee than I ever did. My interactions with him have always been... I've always viewed him as a sort of... like a special needs child. Very talented, very bright, but very difficult to deal with, to get along with, to understand really. I just can't, based on my own observations, I can't understand the malice there, if there is any. I think perhaps he was offered something valuable to him, maybe something with his decking, maybe some money, nuyen, that he couldn't refuse.
Threat to a family member?
Maybe. I'm not sure. I don't think... Everything tells me that this was not his notion.
All right.
But again, Erlen knew Teehee better than I ever would. I only had a few interactions with him as was my role in the company.
So you wouldn't know any of his characteristic behaviors in case of he's used these BTLs and the personalities have taken over?
No, that's completely classified.
No, I'm asking for his personality so we can see if there's a shift.
He was absent most of the time, at least
Forgetful.
in physical conversations. Forgetful. He always seemed to be waiting for the next opportunity to jack in. But then again, I've met some deckers and some riggers who are just like that. That glazed look in their eyes, that sort of slight, palpable nervousness of wanting to get away from meat space, getting back into the digital. He was certainly more intense about it than others, but it's not an unusual characteristic among his kind, I guess.
Was he a technomancer?
No, not that I was aware of. He was strictly mechanical in his operation of the Matrix. Used a cyber deck and everything. He did link in. He did have a physical connection with his deck, but I never saw any magic, anything to indicate that.
Well,
Seems like we should go to this area and see if there's some place. that
Check
can-
the tea. Tea shop, see if he's been stopping in recently.
what's his name?
T.
Yeah.
That's his name.
Yes,
That's
his-
not what
his
mother
legal name?
named him. If we wanted to find his family, what would we do?
That might be his avatar name.
We don't know, and we never asked.
I think Dr. Hendricks might be.
That was part of his employment contract.
Do you have a photo we could use to show? Well, did he ever mention this man? And I'll show the picture of Dr. Hendricks to her.
No. I don't know this person.
Do you have a photo we could show him?
It should be under comlinks right now.
Fantastic. He might be our first link in trying to find him.
The name on the cup was
Flare.
Yeah. Does she know anything about? Are the letters written in any sort of distinctive way, like it would be
No.
the logo of a corporation?
No, it just looks like lettering on the coffee mug. No, that does not ring a bell with me.
Might have been an old college professor, someone important to him.
Mm-hmm.
Someone he might go back to.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody know anybody to get like a facial recognition or something? I don't know.
Sorry?
Just
No.
We just gotta get up to the mainland.
All right. So off to the part of town where the tea place is. What's it called again?
Going to Orion's in.
Oh, you're talking about the organic grocery.
Yeah.
That's in Yaltimon, which is you have to go across the bridge into the main.
Yeah. Okay.
So she takes a look at you. So there aren't any further questions about Teehee or about your job? We must settle the payment. You understand? Of course. She raises her finger to begin sort of, haggling with the exact amount of new yen that she'll be paid. And suddenly you see the door to the room burst open, interrupting her mid-sentence. You see the security team, along with her, turns to look, but for a moment, the door is empty. You can't see anybody in the threshold.
Guns out.
They took our guns.
we had to check them.
They did.
They took our
They got checked in as soon as you came through this private room.
Well, that's fine. They didn't take my.
You
full
see-
last
I'll just
either.
use this table.
Okay. You see two orcs step through, both dressed in three-piece suits with walking capes thrown over their shoulders. Each clearly sports an Ares silver gun, a heavy pistol at their waist. Actually, no, they have them resting the weapon in crossed arms, so you can see they're wielding them, but they've got them sort of stowed away. Both of them wearing mirror shades, despite the fact that the room is not brightly lit. nor was the tea house itself. And they move to flank the door on the inside as a third orc enters the room. This orc, dressed much like the front two, easily 6.5 feet tall, built like a linebacker, muscles bulging underneath the suit.
As orcs do.
Uglier than most orcs, which is saying something. He makes no attempt to hide his features. He has a pencil-sized toothpick lodged in the side of his mouth. And you see Roxanne take a look at him. Junior, what are you doing here?
Is there, like, behind him in the tea room, is there signs of violence?
No.
Okay.
The place looks undisturbed.
Okay. So
Or
they
only,
just didn't
or
take,
only mildly disturbed,
So
as
this-
would be.
So they just didn't take his weapons at the door.
Nope. No.
I'm gonna just kind of position myself as in front of Roxanne as I can, just
Sit
I'll position the
so I
table.
can be ready
front of-
to push her out of the way if necessary.
You see this figure. This grisly-looking figure.
I just unlimber my shield from my back and hold it up so I'm protected somewhat from.
This
Table
ugly
and a
guy,
shield.
knobby dermal plates everywhere, his warty skin sticking up at odd angles, large ears, numerous earrings dotting the side.
She called him Junior?
Junior, yeah. He sort of, in a low hiss, he says, "Where's Erlen?"
I don't think that's any of your business.
Well, I'm just waiting for her to answer.
Yeah. No,
She seems to know him, right?
Yes. That's where we have to stop.
Oh.
Oh.
A minute before midnight.
It's already midnight, so...
Hey, we have a minute. She can answer the man's question.
Takes a very long breath.
Alright, there you go.
No, yeah, no, in out, you know, another one. Yeah.
You get a second one. And now it's midnight.
Like I tell my second client all the time, take a deep breath. Okay, take another one. Did you have a calm
Continue
body
taking breaths.
and a calm voice before we walk? Okay, now we can go.
Okay.
Walk with me.
So that's the first part of Dream Chipper. The character creation process, as always with any Genesys-based system, it takes the
it takes a
longest.
little, yeah.
Just because you have a lot of stuff to...
A lot of choice.
A lot of choices to deal with and stuff like that.
But I mean, I did.
But how did you feel about the actual play?
Well, I did enjoy playing it.
Yeah. I wish we'd gotten to use the fight mechanic more because that's where I built my character around.
Oh no, that's common.
Yeah.
Obviously,
But
This is sort
three
of
armed orcs.
as part of any shadowrunning
So
job.
heavily
This is the setup. You know, you get the job, you negotiate, you haggle, you figure out what you got to do, and then you go on the streets and do the legwork. Right.
Yeah.
That's where we get to wait.
Yep.
Are we gonna get to play this again?
If you'd like to, yeah.
Yeah, I'd definitely like to see what my character can do in combat.
Especially since we can't do La Maratha for the next couple weeks. This might be a good stand-in.
As people are available, they can
Yeah.
certainly can do this on credit until that gets started back up again. Yeah. Any comments, questions, concerns?
You mean about the game or the system?
Both. Whatever you like.
I like it.
Not yet. Yeah, so far so good. It seems easy to wrap your head around, and you know.
It is really because of the. I feel like it is. I think it's easier to play than it is to GM because as you're
Yes.
looking at the layout of the narrative dice, you're going, okay, how do I interpret that
Right.
in terms of the story?
How do you deal with a triumph and 2 threat?
Right. Yeah. What does that mean? You know, like
And no success or
narratively?
failure.
Yeah.
Mm.
How do you...
But it's not. It is a cakewalk compared to trying to GM like Shadowrun, like the latest edition of Shadowrun, for instance, right? So it's still, for me, this was very pleasant. Like I can finally do a Shadowrun game without the baggage, right?
Buried under crunch.
Yeah,
Right.
and I think probably Stephen agrees with me is that this is a very very usable system to play Shadowrun.
Yeah.
So,
I like the system for a lot of different uses.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm looking forward to eventually running a
The
Resident Evil one.
Mhm,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it just
Genesys being sort of like a base system toolkit kind of thing.
Sure.
That is what the latest Star Wars
Trust the
RPG, like
support.
Force and Destiny and Age of the Empire, is based on.
Okay. It's like
There have been a lot of
GURPS or Savage World. or
yeah,
something
if you
like
want to think of it like that. Yeah, there have been a lot of settings for it naturally that people have developed. Not a lot of official ones. There are only Star Wars and then a fantasy one called Realms of Terranoth. And there's supposed to be one based on the Android card game coming out soon,
Ooh, that's
which is
another
supposed to
fun
kind
one.
of like
Yeah.
fill that cyberpunky sort of design. But people have been making all kinds of cool settings. Like people have converted like Vampire the Requiem into,
Oh, really?
you know, they've converted like some of the Warhammer 40k stuff into that. Resident Evil, Fallout, Earth Dawn,
Aliens.
you know, Earth Dawn stuff, the Alien movies of, you know, and this is all like fan work that people have just worked really hard on and put out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Zombie
amazed
stuff.
by the just outcry for it. Yeah, if you want a quick look at Kowloon, the walled city, that's what
Oh
it
my
was.
Hang on.
Yeah,
I've
it is.
always-
It is a amazing place in all the wrong ways.
Yeah, it's
It's a
literally
frightening
like
place.
imagine apartment blocks, but you take them all and you make sure they are touching.
And then you
Did
choose.
it get that way organically? And what caused that kind of density to spring up in such a small area?
I would have to do the research,
Like
but
rapid urban development, just like
a bit of that, and then I'm guessing just like location. It's fairly close to like docks and whatnot, so there may just be like, hey, we need to work. This is where a lot of people with low income were, and it has, I do believe, since been torn down. Probably a very good thing, but
Almost out of a Qing Dynasty fort.
I mean, yeah, the modern equivalent of the modern industrial looking equivalent.
I'm really interested to see how the magic works in this.
Yeah. I wanted to
it's
already as I was setting up the game and looking through the mechanics and stuff like that. I was already
Laundry
intending
across
on
the
like
alley.
at the very least completing this adventure, which
and
is really
sometimes
not.
They're not even alleyways.
Very
They're like
It's not extensive,
interiors,
you know.
technically.
This is
Interior
technically
alleys.
I'm
It's just
Wow.
it's
interpreting a
mind-boggling.
first edition Shadowrun adventure. This is like way
This is
back.
actually like
Yeah.
a map.
And as I mentioned when I mentioned the Kingdom, obviously this
So
is
it's
meant to
not
be like
around anymore.
Seattle
No,
in the
it is-
2050s or whatever. So we're
Bulldozed or
kind of
whatever.
transposing it, but
But yeah, you're looking at
it's
like,
not like in a campaign.
just-
It's not an elaborate thing. It's like it's a proper.
So that was recently because it still existed when Shadowrun came out. Or they wouldn't have put it in, right?
it's still very much so like a cultural touchstone.
I'm looking forward to like actually getting into the meat of it.
Shadowrun was also
Playing
from the
it.
80s.
Which I read
Yeah.
Cantonese. I assume that's Mandarin or Cantonese. So
It's that retro.
it doesn't matter. It's
futurism.
Chinese. It's
Yeah.
the same no matter what. It's just yeah.
Just an urban nightmare.
So you studied
is the
Mandarin.
best way.
How's your reading skill?
Practically non-existent.
Uh,
I studied Japanese and sort of general Chinese, specifically Mandarin variant, in
Yeah,
college,
some of-
and
This is
I was always bad at the writing and the reading. Like the symbols I found were difficult, even in Japanese, which is considerably easier in terms of like the katakana and hiragana, which are like easier to kind of
Yep.
prop together.
so
Kanji
various.
are just there's so many, and it's just so difficult to
You've
really
gotta learn 'em all.
grok. I just never really got to that point where I felt comfortable with it. Speaking was great. I was always good at like oral tests and stuff like that in either class, but it's
Yeah,
been a
so
while
many
since I've
different
done
readings of
any
Yeah.
of those.
Kanji too.
and now I feel my Russian is wretched.
Well, you can learn from G.
German's holding in there.
G's
I'm sure
technically Russian.
Yeah, technically Russian. I'm sure he'd like nothing
Best
more than
kind
to
of
help me
Russian.
brush up on my Russian. I'm sure that would please him no end.
Yeah, some of this definitely looks Japanese. I can very clearly see the symbol for no, which is like an
Oh yeah. That is
I'm noticing.
definitely. We're not looking at Chinese here. There's some kanji in there, but these are Japanese characters.
Which, to be fair, Japanese stole a
Stole
yeah.
the good number of the kanji
Stole-
from Chinese.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
stole up from
whole
Trey.
lot of it.
But not all this. This is
No, yeah.
not kanji.
Which I also forget that Koreans actually completely
never learned to
original.
read Japanese. I can just recognize
Do
it when I
not,
see
do
it.
not take very much
I
from
studied it
And I
for
can tell the
like a
difference.
summer.
I can tell the difference between kanji and hiragana, katakana. Although I couldn't
I can't
couldn't
tell them apart
identify
anymore.
which was
Yeah.
hiragana and which was katakana.
Sure. Yeah.
But I can tell them from kanji.
Kanji.
That's not hard
Yeah.
because the Chinese characters are built on that square.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much.
I'm busy.
Yeah, I was never really good at that, but
Just crazy.
the speech was I was good at. I could have conversations and stuff like that.
Nice and fluent.